Welcome, welcome, everybody. Okay, here we are for another Community Fit. I am your host, James, and this is CalmUnity, our stress, anxiety, overwhelm, busting nervous system coaching class all about resilience. So, we are going to continue along today with our initial theme. We have this week and next Friday where we're really covering like the foundations of everything. I always like to start off this way because sometimes it can feel complicated to work with nervous system regulation, stress reduction, so on and so forth. So I always like to start off with the basics. And the basics are those 5 simple practices that we're going to, again, go over today and kind of proliferate on. And most importantly, the key for unlocking all of the stuff we do, which is the body or self check-ins, right? Because again, it's not about getting a protocol right. It's not about you have to do all of these things or you have to do these things in these ways in order for it to work for you. You are a unique constellation of experiences. Your nervous system is unique. What you need will be unique. Unless I'm working one-on-one with you or you're working on one-on-one with someone else, we can't tell you exactly what it is you're going to need. Instead, I offer up a library for you to kind of pick and choose from, knowing that there are certain indicators that let you know you're on the right track. So, again, kind of just covering the base there. We're going to jump right into our practice for today. And at the end of today, any questions you might have, any comments you might have, um, about these 5 basic practices and sort of their iterations, which is what we've been playing with the last few weeks. We can answer any of those, knowing that we have one more. Again, these will appear throughout the entirety of this series. The series is going to run through June. And so these things will appear again, but we're concentrating them at the beginning because these are the important ones that hopefully you can recall easily and you can share with other people, so on and so forth, before we get into more complex, more fringe, more creative ways to work with your nervous system. So, sit comfortably, find a place to sit, relax, lie down, walk around. You decide what's going to work best for you. And we're going to jump right into the practices for today. How do we start? With the check-in. So we're going to do our basic check-ins, just taking an inventory of what do you notice in your body right now. And again, that's the key, is noticing what is your current experience. Now, if you've been with us for the last few weeks, you know that already there are a number of ways to do that check-in. So if you have a favorite, go ahead and do it. If not, I'm going to kind of guide us through. So you may notice something in the body already. Oh, I'm feeling this thing, and it's a physical feeling. You may notice something that feels good. You may notice something that doesn't feel good. You may notice that neutral sensation where I'm just kind of noticing that I do have a body part, but it's neither good nor bad. None of them are right. None of them are wrong. It's just a way of noticing. So notice what you notice. Take an inventory of that. And the advocation for today is how are you noticing that? Let's pick something that feels good, right? I might notice that my hips feel really good right now. Maybe they're supported by the chair and it feels good in that way. Well, what words come up, right? And this is going to be more important as we go forward. We're not trying to make sense of this, right? Making sense would be like a really logical, well thought out, grammatically correct story. My hips feel good because of this, and that makes me this, and so I want to this, right? That's not what we're looking for. We're really looking for felt sense. Felt sense is a little more sporadic, a little more jumbled, a little more kind of all over the place. So it may feel like to guide you through this does not necessarily have to be your experience, right? So if I'm to say my hips feel good, like right now, my pelvis feels good. It feels supported. It feels kind of cushy. If I was to give it a color, it's sort of like a warm, neutral color. In fact, it's not cool, it's not hot. There's a little more warmth there that feels good in comparison to other portions of my body. If I'm grounding myself down into my pelvis, I feel more present. Right? So these are all examples of what something that feels good might sound like. Why? Because we don't have a lot of language for that. It's either it feels good or it feels bad. Well, tell me more. No, no. What does good feel like? No, it feels like good, right? So this is permission and sort of the beginnings of some curiosity of what do you mean when you say that? So that you can look for those things later and you can create those environments later. So picking something in the body, what do you notice? How do you notice that? And then how about in the cognitive body? What are you noticing there? Any thoughts coming through? Any racing thoughts? Any slow thoughts? Any good? Any bad? And then how about in that emotional body? What's the state there? Just noticing. Because if you don't notice now, how are you going to notice the change? Good. That's your inventory. That's the starting place. And then we do our check-ins. Well, in order to do our first check-in, we've got to do our first practice, our first intervention. So we're going to start off, again, 5 simple practices. We're going to start off with our breath work. And we're going to start off with the one that we taught first, physiological sigh. Remember, physiological sigh is a double inhale followed by a single long exhale. Inhale, inhale, long exhale. If you can do it in through the nose, out through the mouth, all the better. I'm going to demonstrate it once, and then together we're going to do it 5 times, and then we're going to do a check-in to just see if anything has changed. So inhale, inhale, exhale. I'll do it once, together 5 times. It'll look and sound a lot like this. 5 times together. Three more. Last 2. One more. And then just noticing. Anything changed? What has changed? How do you know it's changed? And then how do you know it's a good practice to do, something that's worked well for you? Simple question. Do I like the way it's changed? Do I feel better? And or does it feel like that breath work is unraveling something in a good way, right? Not making more chaos for me, but does it feel like, oh, if there was stress or tension or hyper awareness or disembodiment, like I just couldn't feel anything, does it feel like that's changing in a direction that feels good for you? And if so, maybe keep doing that thing or just cataloging that breath work is one of your good practices. Now, physiological sigh is one of them. We also have covered lots of other different breath work techniques. So if you have another favorite one, do a round of that. If you're like, I don't have another breath work technique, let's do a 4-7-8 breath. Inhale to a 4, hold for a 7, exhale for an 8. Inhale 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. I'll do the counting. We're going to do 3 rounds of that. If the physio sigh is working well for you, keep doing that one. If you have another favorite, by all means, try that one. Do that one. Trust yourself. I'm going to guide us through 4-7-8, 3 rounds. Inhale to prepare. Exhale to get ready. Inhale to 4, 3, 2, hold. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Check in. Then let's move on. Orientation, being aware of our environment. So, simple orientation, taking a look around your space, slowing it down, receiving instead of staring at the space, right? So I'm not quickly darting around looking for things, staring at things. It's like a soft focus, receiving the space, what's above me, what's behind me, and doing it in an objective versus subjective way, meaning it sounds a lot like there's a plant and there's a mirror and a dresser and a rug and a door versus shoes that are out of place, pile of stuff that needs to be organized, plant that may need watering, right? It's things that we can all notice in the same way. Now, if that's working for you and you're like, okay, got it, maybe not. Maybe you want to go back to breath work, or maybe you want to go into that orientation 2.0 of just finding something that's beautiful, sparks some joy, looks interesting, has a fond memory associated with it. And you look at that, you notice what's happening to your nervous system, meaning what's happening to my experience with my body, what's happening with my thoughts, what's happening with like an emotional thing. Do I like the way it's going? Does it feel like it's unraveling something? Does it feel progressive to do this? If the visual's not working for you, you could close your eyes. You could go into auditory. What's the sound that's closest to me? What's the sound that's furthest away from me? You could even do like a sensory orientation. What does it feel like kinesthetically to sit in the chair? What's touching my back? What's touching my legs? What temperature is the room? What does the clothing on my body feel like? So, all examples, uh, looking around, watching something or intaking something, listening, feeling. We're going to spend 1 minute doing orientation. I'm not going to do any talking. I've now given you some examples, and if you've been joining us routinely, you have some experience with this. Whatever version of orientation that we've just explained or that you have some knowledge of, go for it. 1 minute. And then do a check-in. For me, orientation always has like a softening to my experience. It's like everything gets a little more clear, but not like bright, just like a little softer. Yours experience might be different. Maybe you like orientation. Maybe you prefer breath work. Maybe one of them actually triggers you. Maybe one of them actually does the opposite of a good thing to your nervous system, which might be true. Doesn't mean that there's a right way or a wrong way. It's about, again, opening and getting curious of the library and going, this is my practice for me today. This one is not my practice. I don't like this one. This one does the opposite of regulation. From there, moving on, to therapeutic touch. So, real general, we can bring our hands together, get them warmed up. You can even use like a warm towel, like one of those neck warmers or whatever you got. You can put it on your jaw, might be somewhere. Throat might be an option. Your chest might be an option. Your belly might be an option. And again, just get curious, which area feels really good to touch or really interesting, right? It might be like for me, belly feels good. This feels good. This chest thing feels like good, but oh, like a surprising good. Like, oh, I didn't know that I needed that, which might be like a curious thing to explore. You could also go into that havening, right? Havening is a soft, gentle caressing. Some areas that your body prefers to be havened or soft, and havening is a technique name, but it's just about like a soft, gentle stroke. It might even look like this. Hands are one of the prime areas. Upper arms, prime area, or like face and cheeks, prime area. Therapeutic touch might also be like a tapping, right? So I may just prefer to tap, right? Maybe a still hand is too much. Maybe this is too much, but a tapping is like the right frequency for your nervous system. Be here, could be along the face. Again, we'll cover these things more as we kind of spin outwards into different practices in the coming weeks, but these are about the foundations. So you have options right now. We're gonna do about 45 seconds of tapping, touching, havening. And if that doesn't work for you, maybe instead go into orientation or maybe a breath work technique. What practice are you going to choose for 45 seconds? And then we'll do a check-in. Go for it. And do your check-in. What did that intervention or practice or choice, how did that affect your personal nervous system? What words are coming up for you? Like, how do you know you're doing a good thing? Or maybe you're discovering right now, like, oh man, like actually doing the touch felt good at first, and then it triggers me. Like I feel agitated. I feel anxious. I feel racing. I feel mad. That might be a discovery too. Doesn't mean that you did something wrong. It's just that your nervous system is capturing information from the time you're born until today. It's also learning information from your mom, your dad, elders, teachers, people in the neighborhood, friends, and so on and so forth as you've matured. And it's taking this current experience and sort of cross-referencing it back in history, your own history, your parents' history. And it turns out like many generations back, we learn our our nervous systems are programmed not just by our experience, but by the experience of other people. Because when we're little, we're borrowing from other people's nervous systems. And so a choice, a touch, a breath, or whatever could trigger you in some way. And that would be normal too. So again, it's about looking at that library and being able to determine for yourself, is this thing good for me? That's what this class is about. Then let's go into a movement choice, right? So movement choices might be something as simple as I'm just going to shake my hands, right? And I always think like movement has to almost be like real committal, right? Movement is a language. It is our pre-cognitive, pre-verbal language. Ever notice how if you see like a stranger walking up, you can determine with it like in a long ways away, it turns out it's like a mile away, right? As you're starting to see, you can determine, do I kind of know that person? Does that person seem okay? And as they get closer, like, oh, I know that gait. That's my friend. That's my mom. That's my child. That's my whatever. We know movement. And so when I see like non-committal movement, right? Like I'm just kind of going through the actions, it tells your nervous system that something is wrong here versus like I'm fully committed to this. So if you're not in a space where movement makes sense, or you're just not a movement person, or it makes you feel sort of, maybe that movement choice isn't for you. So we're going to present some different movement choices. First one is shaking. We're going to choose this one, like really shake, right? Shake up, shake down, shake forward, shake your body, shake, 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 shake. That's certainly an option. We also have what's called a bilateral sway, which turns out your body does when it feels regulated. And so by doing this real gentle right and left, this bilateral sway in a regulated nervous system, like if I was standing and like super regulated, you would notice there's like a little bit of a sway going on. So making it a little bit bigger is almost convincing your nervous system, oh, I'm actually okay here. Like if I have the opportunity to do the sway, I must be in a safe enough space to be able to do this. Because if a lion walks in my room right now, I'm not going to go, oh, I have time to continue to sway. I'm going to go, oh, there's a lion, get out of here. And the nervous system is like, is it good? Is it bad? And then it makes up stories. So just doing a little sway is a way to convince your nervous system. You can also do a rock, right? And when I rock, rather than like a pole going back and forth, I let my spine flex and extend, almost maybe pretending like I'm on a swing set. Turns out like swinging on a swing set is a really great somatic exercise. It kind of recalibrates things. Did you know that a rocking chair, like a classic rocking chair, right? Not like a lazy boy rocking chair, but like front porch wooden rocking chair is one of the best tools for stress release. It also turns out it's been proven one of the best tools to resolve low back pain. And so this classic rocking thing might be the choice. You could also do like a bounce. You may even want to stand up and do like a little jiggly bounce. So we're now going to spend a minute doing one of these practices. You can do a shake, you can do a rock or a bilateral sway, you can do a rock, you can do a jiggle. And what I'm demonstrating, if you've kind of been watching, is I might even choose to change my mind part of the way through. I might do 30 seconds of something and go, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going to try this other thing now. So it's a dedicated minute of experimenting with one of the movement suggestions I gave and then checking in. Maybe you have a different movement suggestion, but regardless, 1 minute of movement of your choice to just see, starting right now. You may even want to couple some breath work, meaning I'm going to sway and I'm going to do a physiological sigh at the same time. And then pause and just notice. Notice anything physical or mental, just kind of notice. Notice if there's like a want in your body for something else. Meaning, after that movement, your body may want to orient to the space. Your body may want to be done for today, right? We've only been doing these like simple exercises, but that's a lot of nervous system regulation. And I'm bringing this up because my body wants right now this. Like did the movement, I'm like, oh, I feel the need to do this. And so for you, there may be a need after that. Going, oh, okay, it's about kind of following the trail, getting curious about the scent of what does my nervous system want now in order to feel okay in the moment. That's the practice. Sometimes it's I want to be done. I want to leave. And that's an okay thing too. Now, continuing on with our last set of 5 simple strategies, right? We did a breath thing, we did an orientation thing, we did a self-touch or a therapeutic touch thing, a movement thing, and the last one is a vocalization thing. So lots and lots of different ways that this can be expressed. And we'll later down the road, especially when we get to like social nervous systems or co-regulation, the way my nervous system regulates your nervous system and vice versa, or a parent to a child or a friend to a friend or a leader to a group of people, vocalization or sounding or words actually are really important for nervous system. And unfortunately, we are accultured so often to not say anything, to quiet down. Good girls and boys are seen, not heard. Like there's so many colloquial stories around this, that this one is often the hardest and also probably the most profound as we go forward. So vocalizing, sounding, whatever you want to call it, can be as simple as sighing, which is different. It's like a audible sigh. It is different than that physiological sigh we did. Sometimes they go hand in hand, but for the intents of that practice and this practice, they are different. Sighing is making noise as I exhale. Hmm. Right? It could also be a hum. Hmm. Uh, could be that informal, a sigh or a hum. It could be something that we covered last week, which is the VOO sound. V as in Victor, O as in octopus, O, 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 O. V, O, 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 O. Again, our inspiration is foghorn, or like a deep belly breath. It's resonant, it's down. It starts with a V, ends with an O. I'm going to demonstrate it once. So that way, if that's what you choose, we're going to have 3 after I demonstrate this one, 3 of whichever you choose, whether that's sighing, whether that's humming, or whether that's this more formulaic VOO. Looks and sounds like this. Boo. It drags out as long as you can. So 3 of your choice. Again, you can change part of the way through. You know your environment. And if this is like a no for you, maybe go, why is making sound an absolute no for me? And if it still feels like too much, do a breath thing, do a movement thing, figure it out, right? 3 of your choosing. Ooh. Mm. Ah. And then do a check-in. What am I noticing now? Is there something else I need? Where am I at? What is my nervous system informing me in this moment? And then thinking about, has there been anything curious for you today? Is there any like aha moments or moments that you can safely investigate on your own? What one or two practices are you going to commit to practicing, right? Because you got to practice it. Doing it with me on a Friday is not enough, right? I got to practice it so that it's in my tool belt. So that way, when I need it, I remember what to do because it is that practice that then becomes a habit, it becomes a behavioral shift. And then it becomes an organic resource. Now, again, I'm going to stick around for whatever questions you might have. We have one more week with these like very foundational 5 practices things. So any questions you have next week, bring those and maybe we can problem solve or whatever it is. We're going to spend one more week with the 5 simple basic strategies and sort of some iterations of those. Before we switch gears, again, you will see these 5 basic strategies again, but this is that like immersion time, right? And then we're going to kind of expand. So I'm going to check out questions. If you got a jet, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Great. Thank you, James. I noticed some of the things that I do to try to remember to do these practices is I try to pair it with something. So like before I have lunch, since we usually do these around lunchtime and then I eat
Mm-hmm.
afterwards. So before I have lunch, I'll try to spend a couple of minutes just de-stressing, breathing, doing the VU breath, doing the tapping. The butterfly
Right.
tapping is one of my favorites.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely, especially as we go forward, talk about like habit formation, right? Of like when and where do I practice these things? What does that need to look like? Because again, you're pointing out a really critical key component of habit formation, and that's set and setting. And so if I just kind of go like, okay, I'm gonna do in I in the future promise I'll do the breath. Yeah, but where and when and who would you imagine you're with and what's the time of day? And then
Mhm.
that's that commitment thing. So we'll talk more about that going forward.
And that goes along with my SMART Goal series too, the
Hmm.
webinars that I'm doing. It's about how to get specific, measurable, just really, you know, getting your goal completely specific as when,
Right.
where, how, what, who.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
definitely encourage you guys to come along for those. Here, I'll actually put in the chat here our CommunityFIT website, and you can go there and once a month I'm having these SMART Goals workshops until June. So this month is going to be on heart health. So it's going to be developing goals around heart health. So let's see. Can't talk and type at the same time today. Slash. There we go. Is that correct, Raymond? Is that our URL? It's been a long week. Yeah, that's correct. All right. No other questions?
Nope, I think we're
Oh,
good.
yes. Raymond confirmed. That is our URL. So if you
Okay.
go there, you can actually get some of our past CommunityFIT classes as well as sign up for the Smart Goals workshops that I'm running for the next few months.
I don't
So
know if
thanks
you
again,
can
James. It was a
I don't know if
great
you can
day.
see it, but we got a Bob Ross
I
sighting
did see
here.
Bob in the background. Hi, Bob. Oh, he's so cute. Look at him. He's such a good boy. My babies are sleeping too. So let's keep it that way while we finish our work day.
Yep, you got it. Okay,
Okay, bye
everyone.
guys.
We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.